And a very good Friday morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Joe Benigno back with you again. It's the Oh the Pain podcast. It is Friday. It is December 5th, and it's 2025. The Joe Benigno the Pain podcast brought to you by our good friends at Manscaped, by our friends at the Carolina Resort Vacation, and, of course, at Anita Discount Tire. Joining us right now, guy does a tremendous job covering college sports, not just football, but the basketball as well. And that's Zach Brasilia of the only paper that is worth reading anywhere, and that is the New York Post. Zach, how are you?
Hey man, I'm thrilled to join you. I grew up listening to you on the overnights, and it's absolutely my pleasure, Joe.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate it. You do a great job. Look, big college football weekend. Got the conference championships
Huh.
this weekend. The selection show to determine, who's in the playoff at noon on Sunday. Before we get into all of the machinations of that, what's the story on the Penn State head coaching job? What's going on with that right now?
I mean, everything you hear right now is it sounds like Iowa State's Matt Campbell is the guy.
Mhm.
At least that's the one now they're focusing on after whiffing on a few. It, I mean, I think they'd be like falling forward. He's really good. I mean,
Right,
he's done a
right.
hell of a job at Iowa State, kind of a nondescript program. Um, You know, that to me would be a great hire. Everyone seems to think there's a good chance that happens now. Um, I think that would be a home run. I mean, I think it'd be better than some of these other guys you've heard talk. I'm talking to obviously. I think that's you know, I he should have been at the top of their list at the
Right,
beginning, in
right,
my opinion.
right.
He's fantastic.
What's
Um,
There was rumors about Kalen DeBoer leaving Alabama to go to Penn State. Now, is there any truth to that? I mean, is he want out at Alabama? What's going on with that, Zach?
yeah, I mean, like it's been a weird year for them because like they had that first week one they get smoked
Florida
by a
State.
bad Florida State team and then they were awesome and now the
Right.
last month they haven't played well. Like they were lucky to beat Auburn, lucky to beat South Carolina. Um, I don't love them tomorrow at
Mhm,
Georgia.
mhm.
I can see Georgia hammering them.
Yes.
And yeah, look, that fan base obviously if you don't win championships there. So yeah, I mean, I think there was some smoke there. But I think when they won the Iron Bowl and he got them to the SC championship, like I think that was more just him like like if they're gonna want to push me out or something like I need a backup. Like I think he's a good coach. Like look what he
Mhm.
did at Washington. It's just at Alabama like you're
Right.
replacing a legend. It's they expect greatness and you haven't quite seen that with him. Um, and if they miss the playoff, that who knows? Like I also think the other part is like you've heard that Kiffin was kind of interested in Alabama. Like the whole
Mhm,
mechanism
mhm,
was like
mhm.
if
Right.
if Kiffin didn't take LSU, like could he go to Alabama and then DeBoer go to Penn State? But I think now with Kiffin at LSU, I don't think any of that's going to happen.
Right. Let's talk about Let's focus on Alabama here for a second. Playing tomorrow. Look, they've dominated Georgia. I think Kirby
Yeah.
Smart's record against Alabama is like 1-7 or something like that. Obviously, Alabama beat them earlier this year between the hedges and all of that. If Alabama loses tomorrow, are they out of the playoff?
I think if it's competitive, they're still in. But if they get waxed, if this is like a 38-10 type game, I can see them falling out.
Yeah.
But this committee is just with the way they do. Like you have these weekly rankings, which is all drama driven. It's all for TV.
Right.
This past week they move Alabama ahead of Notre Dame, and the reasoning was because they beat a crummy Auburn team. Like
Right.
I get it's
Right.
a rivalry, but still, like that to me was ridiculous. Like why would they just jump them because of beating a bad Auburn
Yeah,
team
but
after
Auburn's better than Stanford. I mean, Notre Dame beat Stanford.
they're
What is that?
yeah, but they're better, but not like that much better. Like that's just not the week that it makes sense to move them up. But like we've seen this yearly where like
Mhm.
they just kind of change on a whim to create this drama. Like I still have a hard time seeing Bama and Notre. Now, look, if Bama gets smoked, I think that's different. But if Bama loses a close game, uh, I still think Bama and Notre Dame get it. I
Okay.
do. Now, the one thing is if BYU wins, that changes things because Texas
Texas
Tech
Tech
is going to
still
get
gets
in.
in.
Yeah. So, like, that's the one thing that I think could, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you have to worry about is BYU winning. Because right now, Notre Dame has that last at large.
Right. Right.
Um, so, like, if BYU wins, then it's kind of Notre Dame or Alabama. And I think that's where, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you have to be worried. I know there's been talk of, you know, Miami leaping over Notre Dame. I don't see them taking a Notre Dame team that's red hot, that's played great since those first 2 weeks out. It's still it's still ratings driven. They can say whatever they want. I don't care.
Mhm.
Like, I still have a hard time seeing Notre Dame not make it.
Mm.
When you consider just how dominant they've been, even against a bad schedule, since those first 2 weeks.
Well, one thing that bothers me is that okay, let's go to the ACC for a second. You got this Virginia Duke game coming up.
Right.
Okay, look, the best team in the ACC is Miami. I mean, I don't think it's even debatable. Okay, if Duke wins, I guess if Virginia wins, they're in, right? I mean, that's it. They'd be 11-2. They'd be in.
Yeah, they'll be one of the five highest ranked conference champions.
Okay, if Duke wins, do they get in automatically?
No. So here's the thing, it's the five highest ranked conference champions get automatic buys.
All right,
So right now, it Duke isn't one of the five highest ranked conference champions. Now, would the committee then move them past, a
Mhm.
James Madison or a Tulane?
Right,
I don't. I don't know. I mean, think about it. Duke has five losses. They lost to UConn.
right,
Like,
right.
are you telling me they're better than, you know, one of those group of five schools? Like, I don't think so. Yeah, the AC was a mess. But look, Miami. I mean, lost two ACC games, like, which is bad. Like, for a team of that caliber. I mean, the issue is we're not going to have the 12 best teams. I mean, I don't.
No,
There's no argument. There's no arguing that we're just not. And I
isn't that a
do.
problem, Zach? I mean, shouldn't it be? I mean, look, I was breaking my own list down, okay, and let's be honest. I mean, you're right. I mean, Miami and Notre Dame are among the 12 best teams in the country, right?
Correct, no doubt.
I mean, don't we have to? Isn't that really what it's all about? Getting the top 12 in there and forget these. Isn't it time too? And I know I'm jumping all over to get rid of these conference champions. I mean, they really mean nothing. I mean, the Ohio State Indiana game means nothing. Well, let's be. They're both
Right.
going to be first round buys, right?
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Here's the thing though. Like, so when they expanded to 12 teams, the whole idea was like they wanted a Cinderella component. So they said
Okay.
we
Okay.
want we want a group of five program in. So that's why they did the five automatic buys. And like, I do like that. Like, I know there's an argument against it saying, well, we want the 12 best teams, but I mean, shouldn't winning your league mean something? And like, I know last year it looked bad with, the bottom teams like
Yeah.
Boise got hammered and
SMU.
right, like they got hammered, but like I still think winning your league should matter, and I still think having that Cinderella is a good component to have. Like it's kind of like a slice of March Madness now. If and it's only 1 year. Like if we go 3 or 4 more years and this Cinderella just gets waxed every time,
Right. Right.
then I think maybe that's something they rethink. But I do think having the Cinderella and giving these smaller schools like something to root for instead of a meaningless bowl is still worth it. I do. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you might not have the 12 best teams, but you know what? Miami should have lost to SMU. You know,
Yeah. No.
Miami
Look,
should.
I understand. I get it. I get what you're saying. All right. Is there any scenario that gets Texas in? I know they got three losses, but their wins. I mean, and let's be real, they're the only team that gave Ohio State a game, and that game was in Columbus. They lost that by a touchdown. They held them to 14 points. Is there any scenario for Texas to make it?
It's yeah, it's hard to see it. Uh, I agree. I think Texas is one of the 12 best teams. I mean,
No
think about it.
question.
They
Go for
beat
it.
Texas A&M. They have the Ohio State game. They played Georgia really tough at Georgia for 3+ quarters. They fell apart in that last quarter.
Right,
Um,
right.
yeah,
And they beat
it's
Oklahoma, and they beat Oklahoma, who looks like is going to be a lock to be in it, right?
right. Yeah, I mean, I think you would have like Alabama gets crushed. That would help. But yeah, it's hard to see them jumping over Miami and Notre Dame um, to get in. It's like think about it. If BYU loses, you would get rid of them.
Right.
Alabama gets blasted, you would get rid of them. Um, so then it would, I guess, the last at large could come down to Miami or Texas. So maybe there's an avenue there.
Wouldn't a
Um,
Duke win? Wouldn't a Duke win help Texas? Right, because that
no,
would put
because that's
Virginia
no,
out, and
because
Virginia would be out. The ACC would be out at that point, right?
no, but like it's still the top five highest ranked conference champions. So like Texas is in one of the at large categories. So like that really has nothing to do with it. If Duke wins, then it's whether they take Duke. It's like which league do they take? Do they take the ACC winner, or do they take the Sun Belt, or
Right.
because I think Tulane wins the AAC. They're pretty safe.
Like that game is
Um,
tonight, right? North Texas State, right? Is that who
yeah,
plays?
yeah. So like, no, I don't. Yeah, I think it's probably asking a lot for Texas to get in. What hurts that Florida loss is really the one that's going to kill
Yeah,
Texas.
that's the killer. Yeah.
Because yeah, like you mentioned, like Georgia loss is fine, Ohio State loss fine, but like three losses without a conference championship game, and the fact they have that Florida loss really really kills them. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Arch. Like I think he'll probably be back. Um, but he did finish the year better, and like who knows, maybe if they have NFL people telling him like you're going to be a top five pick still. He goes. I mean, but definitely interesting to see what happens here with him.
I would move heaven and earth to get Arch Manning if I'm the Jets. If he gets that comes out this year,
Based on his year this year.
based on who he is,
Huh.
based and watching him a lot. I watched a lot of Texas this year. I've been all over Texas this year. I've been all over the college game in general, but all over I watched a lot of Texas games. And I know they won a couple games. They beat Mississippi State, beat Kentucky. I think they were both overtime games that they beat those two teams.
Right.
So they were kind of the dregs of the SEC and all that. But this guy got better and better. And you look at his offensive line. I go back to that game against Florida. And I watched that game against Florida. He got assaulted in that game. He really did. I mean, they couldn't block Florida in that game. So, I love Arch Manning. I think he's the guy. I think if he comes out and I'm the Jets, that's who I want.
Yeah, but here's my gut is he'll he'll stay another year. They obviously didn't have the year he wanted, and
Right.
obviously
Right.
they don't need money. I mean, I'm sure he's making a crazy amount of
Yeah,
NIL
he's making
anyway.
6 mil. Isn't he the highest paid
Yeah,
NBA guy?
I don't know if he's the highest paid. I mean, I know his valuation out there
Right.
is pretty high, but I mean, I'm sure he's making tons of money. The family's got tons of money. Yeah,
Right.
my gut would be he stays. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, because they obviously didn't have the year they thought they would. It's hard to see them making it here. Um, it'll be interesting.
Let's talk a little about Indiana. How good is Indiana? I mean, I know they had maybe the best win of the year was them going into Eugene and beating Oregon and ending their long
Right.
home winning streak. Obviously Mendoza had that highlight moment when the drive to beat Penn State at the end of the game in Happy Valley and all that. Um, how good is Indiana? I mean, can they beat Ohio State? I mean, your thoughts on that?
I think Indiana's terrific. I mean, they're top three in both offense, in points scored and points
Right, right.
allowed. They played it. Look, they ended up playing probably a tougher schedule than Ohio State because they had to, you
They
know,
beat Oregon. Right.
they have the win over Oregon. Um, I think Indiana's really good. I mean, it'll be interesting to see this game tomorrow because, like you said, neither team really has anything to play for. They're
No.
both going to get buys, but the other
Right.
thing is they're then not going to play again for a month. So you would think they're both going to go all out to try to, and think about it, Indiana's never won a Big Ten title. They've never played in this game before.
That's
So
crazy.
like,
That's
yeah, so
crazy to think that.
I
It really
I
is.
think I think the game probably means more for Indiana just because they're not used to winning Big Ten titles, and
Right.
like that would be a big
And
a big thing for them. Um, so like I think both teams will go all out just because you have a month. You have a full month after this game until you play again. You would love the one seed anyway. Just because you're gonna get a weaker opponent in your first game, and you'd rather play the court in the final the semis. You'd rather play the 4 seed than the 2 or the 3.
Right, right.
So yeah, I mean it's really interesting because the way these now super conferences operate is it's unbalanced schedules. Like think about it. Ohio State didn't have to play Indiana, Oregon. Yes, they had the non-conference against Texas, but I mean they basically had a series of scrimmages because the Big Ten stinks after the top three.
Yep, yep,
And
yep, yep.
and Indiana's had a ton of easy games of late. So like for either team it's a it's a really good game to play, before going off this getting onto this layoff.
Yeah. We're talking to
But
Zach.
it is a shame that doesn't like mean what it used to because you have two undefeated teams, one versus two, and there's really nothing at stake.
Yeah. No, there's nothing. Well, maybe the Heisman Trophy. I mean, I guess the voters are holding off until the conference championship.
Yeah, but I think Mendoza, I think
Mendoza's a
something
lock in
crazy
your
has to
mind.
Yeah, I
Is he
think
a
something
lock?
crazy has to happen for him not to win.
Yeah. What chance do you give Diego Pavia winning? Is he going to get invited to New York in your mind? And what chance do you? Because to me, I watching Vanderbilt this year, watched a number of games. I mean, there weren't many people better than this kid. To be honest with
I think he has a good chance to get invited. Um, you know, I think my guess for the four, sometimes they'll do three, sometimes four. Obviously Mendoza. I think Simpson will still go, even though he hasn't been good of late.
you. Right.
Um,
Love from Notre
Pavia
Dame. Right.
and I think Love from Notre Dame. I think those are your four that'll go. But I think it's Mendoza by a landslide. I just look he had an incredible year. He
Yep.
did an amazing job. Indiana, nobody thought would be anywhere near this good. I think Mendoza's basically a lock to win.
Talking to Zach Brasilia of the New York Post, covers the college sports, does a great job as well. I want to before we get done, I want to just ask you one thing about college basketball. I'm not really paying too much attention. I don't start paying attention to college basketball till
All
football.
right.
Football's over, and I look at it a lot differently. But I do want to get into that. I want to get my sponsors in here, and I want you to hold on with me for 1 second to get my information that I did not have with me, which is not good. To tell you that. I'm back. Hi, Zach. I'm back.
What's up?
I had to get my sponsors back in here because I had them
All
all.
right.
I did a number of moving around. So we'll take a break, Zach. If you take a break for a second while I bring my sponsors in, if you don't mind. Talking
All
again
right.
to Zach Brasilia, who does a tremendous job. By the way, read your column all the time. I always.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No, I do. You're the preeminent. Who else? Where else am I getting college football in New York from except from you? Where am I getting it? Right? Where? You know, we don't live in Oxford, Mississippi. We don't live in
We
Nashville,
don't.
Tennessee. I mean, come on. What it's all
Oxford, they're angry right now, man.
angry. Let me just tell you this. I'll tell you before we get to my sponsors. I have a relative. My wife's niece daughter is a sophomore at Ole Miss, and they are livid about Lane Kiffin
Um,
stiffing them the way he
I'm
did, boy.
sure they are.
Oh my God, what a piece of
Next
shit.
year, LSU and Ole Miss is
I
going to
know.
be, oh baby,
At
that's going to be a
Oxford.
hell
At
of a game.
Oxford. At Oxford. How much are those tickets going to be going for? And let me ask you this too, Zach. How many guys from Ole Miss are going to go into the transfer portal to LSU? Right? I mean, come on. We're going to see that, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
Although I will say this, it sounds like the players are a good amount of those players are pretty pissed off at Kiffin.
well, they should be.
Like,
They should be.
and him saying the players begged him to stay to coach the playoff does not sound like it was accurate.
No.
They were
But
annoyed at how he dragged it out, annoyed at just how he handled it. I'm sure there will be guys that go,
right,
but I don't know if it's going to be this exodus there.
right. Well, the good news for Ole Miss is that Charlie Weiss is staying to at least coach in the playoffs. Their offensive, so they'll still have their offensive and defensive coordinator there. So that's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's a good thing. I'd love to see them win. I don't think they can, but you never know.
yeah. Right now they're the 6th seed, so
Yeah,
like
they're getting a home game. They're going to be. They're
they'll
going to
get
be
a
playing
home game and they'll get they'll get, either if they stick at 6, you're going to get, probably, if Virginia wins, you'll get
Oh my God,
Virginia.
that's a layup for them.
Right. Or if Virginia loses, you'll get, Tulane or something. So,
Yeah,
like, if they stick at the 6, yeah, they should win at least their home game.
and they played Tulane already this year and beat them. They beat
Right.
Tulane already, right? Didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So yeah, like, if as long as they stick, as long as you're at, if you're 5 or 6, you're gonna get it. You should get a pretty easy game
right.
in that first one.
Yeah. All right, let me get my sponsors in here. I want to get to some more of these teams. Now, you know about Manscaped, Zach? Maybe you should use Manscaped. I don't know. I don't know if you've heard any of my spots on Manscaped.
I've heard them.
All right, well, get ready because the holidays are here, which means it's time to give the gift of smoothness. I'm not very good looking, Zach, but I'm smooth. Whether you're shopping for your partner, your brother, or yourself, Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate upgrade because nothing says happy holidays like a perfectly groomed package. And now Manscaped gives it to you top and bottom. I mean, it's unbelievable. Head over to manscaped.com. Join over 13 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use the code PAIN, PAIN. I have a lot of that for 15% off your entire order. And you know the deal about Manscaped, man. I'm telling you. I've used the Lawnmower Ultra for the lower extremities, gives you that look of extra inches, which all guys want. I mean, let's be honest. There's no guy out there that doesn't want extra inches, even if it's only an illusion. And that's exactly what Manscaped gives you, the lawnmower gives you. It's tremendous. And don't forget, they got the underwear, which are great, keeps everything in place. They got the shampoo and conditioner, which is terrific. Got to check it out. What a tremendous gift, Christmas gift. Give the gift of smooth this holiday season with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Get 15% off your entire order with the code Manscaped at manscaped.com. 15% off with code PAIN at manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game. Be ready for anything this season throws your way. Now, if you're looking for a great place for a vacation, check out the Carolina Resort Vacation in beautiful North Myrtle Beach. It's tremendous. My kids were down there this year. Got 5 spacious bedrooms, each with a private en-suite bathroom. It's unbelievable. A fully stocked kitchen ready for family meals or group cooking nights. Arcade-style gaming tables with 150 plus classic games. Smart TVs in every room. I have a dumb TV. Entertainment for everyone. Steps from the beach, minutes from Barefoot Landing, mini golf, Ripley's Aquarium, the Myrtle Beach Boardwalk, all the great golf courses. I don't know if you play golf or not, Zach. I certainly do. My wife too. The unit is freshly renovated, spotless, and spacious. Perfect for family trips, group getaways, or a relaxing retreat by the ocean. Whether you're soaking up the sun, exploring local attractions, just enjoying time together, OBLV Unit 2 Carolina Resort Vacation makes every trip unforgettable. North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Call 843-249-6509 or visit carolinaresortrealty.com to learn more and start planning your trip today. You play golf, Zach? Yes or no?
Not really, not really. My grandfather was a huge golfer. I never really got into it though.
Okay. Well, good. Probably too late now. Anyway, I should have still been playing when I was 10 years old. And don't forget also, Anita Discount Tires. See my son Johnny. See his great boss Harry. Any of your automotive needs. You need tires. You need whatever you need. Your car inspected in beautiful Rivervale, New Jersey on Westwood Avenue. Go see Johnny. Go see Harry. They will take care of you. Anita Discount Tire. All right. Zach Brasilia of the New York Post does a great job covering all the college sports. So right now, let's look at. So the buy right now is going to be Ohio State, IU, right now Georgia and Texas Tech. That's where we are right now, right?
Yeah, I think if Georgia and Texas Tech win their games this weekend, yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Okay. Now, if Alabama beats Georgia, does it not? Georgia's still making a playoff no matter what.
Yes,
If
I think so.
Alabama
Yes.
beats Georgia, that'll knock them out of a bye. Is that right?
I think it will. I do. Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to kind of see how, it all works. If that happens, I have a hard time seeing Alabama winning this game. I mean, they've been bad here for a month. I
Mhm.
mean,
They
you look
rolled
at.
Georgia though. They did beat them earlier in the
I
year.
know, but they've been trending in the wrong direction now for
Right.
a few weeks. Georgia's playing really well. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to kind of to see. I don't think it would necessarily move Alabama all the way up to a bye. Um, it also depends. Like if Alabama beats them by a field goal, is
Mhm.
Georgia? Maybe they move Texas Tech 3, Georgia 4. Um, because right now Oregon is the 5, or I believe Oregon's the 5,
Yeah, Oregon's 5
and
right now.
but like, are they going to have? I mean, are three Big Ten teams going to get buys? That's hard for me to see.
Mm.
Um, interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they come up with it. I'm sure they're going to do a lot of dumb things because they don't really seem like they know what they're doing. Um, but yeah, I mean, if the favorites win this weekend, yeah, I think you're going to see Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4.
Okay, and the teams that will be hosting playoff games will be Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and then who am I missing that's going to have a home playoff? Oklahoma getting a home playoff game?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance of that. I do. Like, yeah, you obviously have Oregon, you have Ole Miss. Um,
A&M.
you mentioned A&M. Yeah, I mean, and probably, yeah, I think there's a good chance Oklahoma gets one. Although I'm not in love with them. Their offense has been brutal
Oh,
lately.
terrible. No, they were very lucky to get by LSU the other day.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they were fortunate to win that game. Look, the games they lost, Mateer was banged up. I mean, the game against Texas that they lost, who was their other loss to? Like Ole Miss. That's right, they lost to Ole Miss. So
right.
but they've won 10 games. I mean, in the SEC,
Yeah, yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to not give them their due. That's for sure.
yeah. No, I mean, look, they have. You gotta give them credit. They have won their games. I still think I would take Notre Dame over Oklahoma. I even take Miami over
Yeah,
Oklahoma right now.
yeah, I would
I think
agree.
I think Alabama would beat them if they played again, even though Oklahoma did win there.
Right,
Um, but yeah, I mean, look, you do have to give them their due. They've won their games. They have a terrific defense. There's no question.
they do.
That kind of goes back to the whole, like, if you're Indiana, Ohio State, like, I would love to play Oklahoma in the quarterfinals, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'd much
Oh yeah.
rather play an Oklahoma than like an Old Miss or a Texas A&M.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I agree. Let me ask you this about because this kind of bothers me a little bit. The teams that get buys, okay, don't get home games, right? I mean,
Yeah,
isn't there something wrong about that? Am I missing? I know I understand you get a buy; they don't have to play in that first round,
right.
but we automatically go into the bowl games, right? Once we get to the 4 teams with the buy.
Right, but the one thing about those bowl games is like they're played like local proximity. So like the top seed, I will get a choice of which bowl to go to.
Oh, I see. Okay, right,
So at
right,
least, for the 4 bowls, like if Ohio State's the one, Ohio State will pick the closest bowl to them. But no, I mean it's definitely valid. That they don't get a home game, but I think if you probably ask what you prefer, you'd probably prefer not to play.
right. And they're not going to play for a while. When is the first? Now, because this week we got the conference championships.
Right.
Next week is Army Navy stands alone, right? Right.
Yeah, so the first round is the 19th to the 20th, and then the quarterfinals are the 31st. There's one on the 31st and there's three on the first.
Right.
So the teams that get a bye are have basically a month off
Right.
until they play again.
Right. Right.
And
Interesting.
the championship's not till the 19th, which is
Is that what it is? And that's
yeah,
a Monday night, right? January
right,
19th is the
right.
champion. And where is that? Where is that again?
I think
Miami?
yes, I believe it is Miami.
Right. Yeah, I think it is Miami. I think I saw that the other day. Yeah. No, very, very, very interesting. All right. So right now, quick question: Notre Dame in or not?
I'm going in. I still have a hard number one. I don't think BYU's beating Texas Tech,
Right.
um, and so that's not going to be. It's not like you're going to have one fewer at larges. I think Georgia's going to beat Alabama pretty comfortably. I think ultimately we're getting Notre Dame and Miami both in.
Really?
I think
Now,
Alabama. I
well,
think Alabama's
Alabama
going to
would be
get
out.
beat.
Alabama would have to be out then if that's going to happen, right?
I think Alabama's going to get beaten soundly on
And
Saturday.
which means they're not going to make the playoff for the second
Right?
year in a
Yeah.
row.
Right. I think if Alabama's competitive, they'll still be in a loss. But if they get beat pretty badly, I think the committee is going to say
Mhm.
you've played you're heading in the wrong direction. You've lost two out of your last whatever five or so. You were lucky. You were fortunate to beat some of these weaker teams. You know yeah I think Miami and Notre Dame both get it.
And if they lose, does the boss stay at Alabama in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, where's he go? Number one is where he's going to go. Number two, like, who are they going to bring in? I
Right.
think it's pretty late in the
Yeah,
process.
you passed the sign, the recruiting
Signing
process and
day,
all of that, right?
portal is coming up,
Right. Right.
and all this portal work usually gets done well in advance. We know, I know that personally from college basketball. So yeah, no, I don't think he'll be gone, but I mean, he'll be on a scalding hot seat next year.
Hmm. Who wins? Who do you think wins it all? Who do you like here to win it all? Ohio State.
It's hard to go against Ohio State. They're just so talented. Um, they crushed Michigan despite all this noise that Michigan has this mental thing over them.
They got it.
The,
They got a good call in that first touchdown because the kid did not have control of the ball going over the goal line.
they did, they did, they
I mean,
did. But
Michigan would have won the game anyway. But
yeah,
in fairness, I thought that was a bad call there.
I mean, I can make an argument they have the two best players in the country between Jeremiah Smith, who if
Right,
he
the
was
wide
draft
receiver.
eligible, might be the first pick. He's that good.
Right, right,
I know his numbers weren't amazing this year. That's because teams are basically doubling him every game.
right. And also, I
Um,
mean, he's not. How many games are he playing where he's not even
right.
playing late because they're killing everybody?
Right.
Right,
And the safety is, I know he's not going to probably be a top two or three pick just because he's a safety, but Caleb Downs is incredible. He's
right.
going to be an awesome NFL player. Like, you could make an argument they have the two best players in the country. The quarterback is good. He showed you he's tough in that Michigan game. Um, I think Ohio State, you got to like Ohio State. I mean, um, I think Indiana is very good. I think people are sleeping on Oregon. I think
Mhm.
Oregon's really, really good. Yeah, they lost that game at home to Indiana, but
Right,
I think
right.
they're very good. And yeah, I mean Georgia's been good. I mean, they've had some I wouldn't say they had a great regular season. They had some uneven performances, but they find ways to win. They're incredibly talented. I think Georgia, if you're looking for kind of a sleeperish team, I would not count out Georgia.
So right now, you think the best team in the SEC is Georgia? You would say
Yo,
Georgia.
yeah, I don't think it's close. And I'll tell you, don't sleep on Notre Dame, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, Notre
If
Dame's good. No, I
if
agree, man. Notre Dame's a
if
very good team.
Love was healthy last year in that
Right,
championship
right,
game, that would have been a much more competitive game.
right,
He
right.
is going to be. I'll be really interested to see how high in the draft he goes because he's going to be. He's got NFL star written all over him. He's
Yeah.
so athletic. He catches the ball. He's a game breaker. He's freaking fantastic. I know we don't take these teams don't take running backs high for the most part anymore, but man, that's a guy like
Well, they took look. Barkley was what, the second pick in the draft, and this kid
right. But for
Gentry.
the most
I think it
part,
was the
you don't
Raiders
see
with
these
the 10th.
guys go high.
Was a top 10
Um,
pick, right, from Boise State with the Raiders.
yeah, I'll tell you, I think Love is going to be a awesome pro.
Right.
He's so good. But yeah, I'll tell you, I would not. I think Notre Dame could definitely go far. I
Wow.
really did.
Right. Okay. Well, it's gonna look. I'm telling you, I'm very pumped to see how this all plays out. How much of a run can you see Ole Miss getting, especially if they're going to get Virginia or somebody like that in the first round? You got to believe they're winning that game.
Yeah,
You
they'll
like
win
Chris
that game. The
Chambliss?
problem is that second game is going to be really hard.
You
So
like the
like,
Chris Chambliss, the quarterback, Trinidad?
yeah, I mean, Ole Miss had a really good like. That's the thing about the Kiffin stuff that
Yeah.
stinks.
Yep.
Is Ole Miss had a great year. They had arguably the greatest year. Their one
Yeah.
loss
No
in the
question about it.
SEC, and their one loss was a really competitive loss at
At Georgia.
Georgia.
Right.
Like SC Ole Miss is really good. The problem for Ole Miss is their quarterfinal game. They're gonna have to play like a Georgia or Indiana,
Right.
like which is gonna be really really difficult. But like I wouldn't be shocked for them to go far. I mean they're really good. You
Yeah.
lose one game in the SEC, you're very good.
Yeah.
I
No, there's
mean
no question about that. The quarterback that goes the highest in the draft, Mendoza.
I think so. Now look, I would not move like I think he's
So you
good.
would, if you're the Jets, you would
I
not give up significant draft capital let's say Tennessee. I know Cam Ward's had a bad year. I don't know if Tennessee is looking for a quarterback or not. I mean, right now they're sitting with the first pick.
Probably not. I would
Right.
think not.
Okay, but you would not move significant draft capital to move up and get Mendoza.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I mean, I like Ty Simpson. I know he
Right.
hasn't
You
played
said that.
great of
You said
late.
that. Right.
He's got some Chad Pennington in him, man. He's really smart. He's a really good leader. Like, if I'm the Jets with all my holes, like, if I could get someone like, where are they going to pick? 6 or 7, probably, you would think. If
Somewhere.
I can,
I think there's 7 right now. So
right. And they're probably going to win another game or
oh
two
yeah,
here.
oh
You would
they are. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
if I'm the Jets, I would rather keep what I have. Use my right now I think what are they that Cowboy pick is or whatever is 20 or
But a
the Colt
Cowboy
pick.
pick is not this year. The Cowboy number one is
Right.
next
It's the
year.
Colts pick.
Right.
Um
Right. And the
I
Colts
would
are
rather
thinking,
use
and the
that
Colts are
late.
thinking fast, by the way, may I add.
I would rather use that pick on on a defensive guy late first round than you
Right.
have to use it to move up a few picks. If I can get Ty Simpson, I just I look. I'm not saying I don't like Mendoza, but I don't know. I don't see him as like, well, I got to do everything I can to get him. Like
Right.
you're telling me he's that much better than Ty Simpson. Like I don't know. I mean, if the Jets are in love with him, I guess you do it. But with all their holes and the needs to upgrade defensively, I would like to use that second pick on a first player on a defensive guy or
Right.
or
Right.
even whoever the best guy is available. I would rather use that on him. And like with all their picks, who's to say they can't draft a quarterback next year too?
Well, they could. I told you, I love
Right,
Arch Manning. I mean, to me, he's the one
right,
guy I'd move heaven and earth to get him. I really would. I think he's going to be really good in the NFL, and he's got
right.
some
So like,
real pedigree.
who's to say you can't um take a quarterback the following year if you don't like what you get? I don't know. I don't love I'd like to use that wherever that Colts pick ends up. I'd like to use that pick and not have to, use it to move up. I'd rather go quarter. Who knows? Like maybe there's someone they like that's going to be late first and they use that 7th pick on a stud defensive guy
Right. Right.
and maybe I don't know, maybe you take your guy Pavia. I mean, um
Now that's good. I'm glad you brought him up because I was going to go right to him. Do you think he's an NFL quarterback?
yeah,
I
I
like
do.
him a lot. He's got big ball. I'll tell you, Pavia has got big balls.
A
He
little
reminds me,
small,
he
but you're
is,
seeing
but he
more and
reminds
more of
me
those
of Baker
small
Mayfield. He
quarterbacks.
reminds me of Mayfield a lot. Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
you are seeing that smaller. There are more smaller quarterbacks than there used to be. I wouldn't hate that either. I mean, I think it really depends on what I think this GM is good.
Yeah,
I
no, I
I would
like him. I'm
I
with
would
you.
trust him
I'm
if
with
this
you.
GM
Yep.
wants I think you trust him. I mean, he's shown you number one, he's shown you he's not going to be stubborn. That
Right.
he's going to if he makes a mistake, he's not going to just say, "Well, I'm going to keep just banging my head against the wall," which is stuff you've seen from the Jets in recent years. Like
No
he's
question.
shown you he's willing to adjust and accept if they make mistakes. So yeah, I mean, I think if he believes they can get who they need at whatever, yeah, I would trust them. I don't, but personally, I do not love the idea of trading assets just to move a few picks in this draft for a quarterback. I don't. There isn't one guy that I say, "Oh, this is the no-brainer guy."
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
But we all know how the draft process works. You got to see who they like and who.
Mhm.
But yeah, there is not. I personally would like to see the Jets draft 2 players in the first round and not have to use their assets.
Interesting. Okay, well, we'll see how that plays out. Again, we're talking to Zach Braziller of the New York Post. I want to quickly just a little bit with college basketball. St. John's to me. Okay, let's talk about that. I mean, I love Patino. I got to tell you, I really do. But with
Okay.
that said, okay, they've already lost a couple games. I mean, this team's
Yeah.
supposed to be so freaking good. They even lost that game to Michigan. I guess didn't count.
Right.
I mean, what they got 2 losses already, right?
Three. Three.
3 losses, and okay, maybe they're going to run through the Big East. Maybe they're going to win the
They
Big East
will.
without too much trouble. But are they? How good are they in your mind?
I don't think we know. I mean, here's the thing: like they were ranked really high in the preseason, but
Yeah.
they have one return. It's a very new team, and
Right,
if you look at the best teams in the country so far, Purdue,
right, right,
Alabama,
right. Duke,
Duke, UConn, like these teams have a lot of guys back. St. John's has one starter back,
Right. Right.
and it's a new team, and it's good at like Patino's first 2 years here was the same thing. They started slow, they got better. Last year's team people forget as great of a year they had last year. Last year's team went to the Bahamas and won 1-2. And I think this year's team is further along right now. They played a real I think their non-conference strength of schedule is 17th in the country. So
Hmm.
like they played a really they played
Right. Right.
an Alabama team who's got an NBA guard in, and they played an Iowa State team who's a top 10 team and they lost by one. The one game that bothers you if you're a St. John's fan is Auburn. Auburn is top 25, but St. John's is better than Auburn. They played awful. It was their
That was
worst
at the
game of the
Garden.
year.
That game was in the Garden, right? There wasn't.
No, Alabama was in the Garden. Auburn was in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But that's the one game I think that bothers you because I think St. John's is better than Auburn, and they were up in the second half and they just kind of collapsed. I think they'll be fine. They might not be quite as good as people thought being preseason number 5, but I still think they're a legit top 15 team that just needs time. That's the thing. When especially with college basketball because it comes on the heels of football. Everyone it's a long year.
Yeah. No, it
It's
is.
and I
It
and
is.
I and I felt going this year like last year they had this great regular season, but they fell short in March. I felt going into this year like it's all about March. If they make an
Oh,
Elite
they got
Eight
to
or
make a run in a tournament.
right,
You can't
well
lose a
that's my
tournament
point.
second
Is
round.
like I think I've been saying this. I think the St. John's gonna have the kind of year like the Knicks had last year, where like their regular season might not be as great as people had hoped, but they're going to have a good March. And it's the Knicks had this great playoff run, and all of a sudden nobody cared what their regular season was.
Hmm.
Like I remember going to the playoffs, expectations were low with the Knicks. People weren't really all that excited. I covered that whole Knicks run, and then once they get to the second round, they beat the Celtics. All of a sudden, everyone was thrilled. They're like,
Right.
"Wow, look at
Right.
this!" Obviously you want to go to the finals, but I think you're gonna. I can see St. John's kind of having a similar type year where like they don't win the Big East. 'Cause I think UConn is a little better, and maybe they don't have the year they people thought they're like a 4 seed or something, and they have a good March, and that's really all that matters right now. St. John's knocked off a bunch of kind of bucket list things last year. They won the league for the first time in a while. They won the postseason tournament for the first time in a while, and it kind of made this year was all about March. And so like if they're really good come March and have a good March, are people going to care that they lost some games in November?
Yeah. Yeah. No, of course. How good is Seton Hall? They got off to a 7-0 start. How good are they?
I think they're solid. I think they're better than they've been.
Mhm.
I still think they're limited talent wise. Now the Big East isn't great after St. John. UConn's the one. St.
Right.
John's is clearly two, and then there's a lot of question marks. Could Seton Hall finish fifth or sixth? Yeah, they can. I mean, they play hard. They're good defensively. Are they a tournament team? I got to see more. They beat NC State, who looks vastly overrated, and that's really their only kind of significant win of note. I mean, they beat a really bad Washington State team, lost to USC. So I got to see a little more from Seton Hall. I'll tell you though, they're not Rutgers, that's for sure.
No, Rutgers. What a disappointment. I mean, last year it was a major disappointment. And they
Yeah,
got hammered the other day. Who beat them? Purdue yesterday?
yeah,
Purdue?
they're gonna have a really long year. They might not win
Yeah,
10
they don't
games this
belong in
year.
the Big Ten. I mean, come on, especially for football. What a joke! Really, let me just say this. You know, you could talk all you want about Greg Schiano. They're never going to win. They can't win in the Big Ten, right? Rutgers will never compete. I'm talking football. Rutgers will never compete in the Big Ten in football. Never.
Yeah, I mean they're just it's a math game when you look at the money that some of these schools spend.
Yeah.
They're just
Right.
not, and you know Ohio State's second team would be Rutgers.
Right. Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
and
Right.
that's not. I'm not insult. That's
Right.
not
No, I
insult to
understand.
Rutgers.
Right. I understand.
It's just the one thing I will say being in these super conferences is like there are years where you're not going to have to play Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State. So like
Right.
I do think that there's some I think the hope for Rutgers is like one out of every 4 years you're good and you win like 8 games or maybe 9 games.
Right.
That's probably your ceiling. But yeah, it's just it you just it's just not fair it's just not realistic to think they could play with the the Michigans and the Ohio States and the Penn States and now even the Indianas. It's
Right,
just
right. It's unbelievable. Am I right that Indiana's lost 30 straight games to Ohio State? Is that right? Is that the number I heard the other day? 30 straight to them?
I'm not sure the exact number, but yeah, and Ohio State, Indiana was good last year, not this good, but good, and and Ohio
Right.
State crushed them last year,
Yeah.
and
Right.
that's another reason I actually think tomorrow night should be fun because like Indiana's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder from last year,
Yeah. Yeah.
like they got manhandled by Ohio State. Like this game, I think means a lot more to Indiana than Ohio State.
Yeah. No, I buy, and the game's in Indiana too. That's at Lucas Oil, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's at
In
Lucille.
Indianapolis. Yeah. So that
Yeah, no, like it. I'll be interested to kind of see how the two teams treat it, but I think Indiana's going to treat this like a huge thing. Like they're having the best season ever.
mhm.
They've never won a Big Ten title. They're playing the defending champs, who everyone thinks is the best team in the country. It's yeah, I think Indiana's. I think both teams. I mean, like I said, it's you have a month off. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, why not? It's not like the NFL where like the teams don't play that last week because they got to play the following week.
Right.
They got a month off.
Right. Right. Well, I'm looking forward to the SEC game to me because I really think Alabama's out if they lose. I think the committee that gives them the opening to put either Notre Dame or Miami in it. That's my feeling. I
I'm
really
looking
do.
forward to the Big 12. Like Texas Tech, I think is better than people
How good is
realize.
this quarterback Morton, who I really haven't seen play? I mean, how good is he at Texas Tech?
I mean, I think he's pretty damn good. I
Yeah, huh?
mean,
You think
they
he's
have a
better than
top.
Simpson? Is he better than Simpson to you?
I wouldn't go there. I like Simpson. I'm a big
Okay. Is he
Simpson
better than
fan.
Mendoza? You think he's better than Mendoza?
No, no.
Okay.
But I think he's good. And
Okay.
the Texas Tech, I get it. The Big 12 is not good. It's not the Big 10 or the SEC, but man, they're top 3 in offense and defense. Like
Right.
that's that's gotta mean something.
Right.
I'm really interested. That's a game I'm really fascinated. I want to see Texas Tech. They already beat BYU pretty handily.
Yep.
They're interesting.
Who's
I
their
don't
one loss? Texas Tech. Who did they lose to? I'm not sure.
I it wasn't a good loss. They lost to a mediocre Big 12 team. I forget who it was.
Okay.
But wasn't a great. But they did hammer. But they've hammered most of that conference. They beat BYU handily.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, no, I think Texas Tech is pretty good. I do.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
mean, it'll be fascinating. You know, we'll see what they do. The committee, I think it's going to be. I think Alabama's going to lose pretty badly, and I think it's going to be Notre Dame and Miami get the last two at larges.
I hope so. I hope that. I mean, look, I like Alabama. Not that I would root against them, but I think Notre Dame and Miami need to be in the field. I don't think there's any.
Notre Dame to me isn't not forget being the top 12. I think Notre Dame is a top 5 team in the country. I
Yeah.
think they're
No, I
really
agree.
good.
I'm not disagreeing with you. No, I
Like
really
Notre
don't.
Dame not being in, I understand like they don't have they wouldn't have like the high caliber win because their best win is USC and Pitt, and they do have 2 losses. But if you're just doing the eye test and you're just watching these
Yeah.
games, they're clearly a team that can win a national championship. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
they're that good,
Is this guy
and it would
staying?
be a shame if they're not in.
Is Marcus Freeman staying, or is he on his way to the NFL at some point?
So good question. I think he's gonna stay.
Yeah.
I do. Seems like he loves it there. Um, people just gravitate towards the guy. I mean, look, if he went to the NFL, he could basically pick whatever team is out of coach. I think would love him. I mean, I think he's gonna. I think he's a terrific, and he's young.
No, I
That's the
like him.
thing.
No, no, no. I
He's
like him a
so
lot.
young.
No, I like him a
You
lot. I
know,
really do.
like, um, I mean, look, if the Giants could ever hire him, he would be that would be
I think the
a
Giants need a coach
experienced
with
guy.
NFL experience.
So you would hire Mike McCarthy if you were them?
Yes, 100%.
Huh.
I would. Yep. Yep.
How is this
I
GM
like
not
Mike
out,
Tomlin. I
by the
think
way?
Mike Tomlin might wind up there, man. I think he's going to be out in Pittsburgh. And if I'm the Giants, I would jump on Tomlin.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
I would jump on
Oh,
Tomlin.
yeah.
You know, I really would.
What do you think? They going to get rid of this GM or what?
Shane,
Yeah.
you know what? I say, wait a minute. So Shane drafted Dart. He drafted Scatterboo. He drafted Neighbors. I understand Carter has been a knucklehead so far. He's been a disappointment to this point. But let's see. Maybe he matures a little more, gets his act together. I mean, he was a demon at Penn State. Um, I don't know if I want to get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Uh,
he got some decent guy. I mean, come on, he got
he
Dart, didn't he?
he's you know what Joe Shane is? Joe Douglas. One good draft.
Joe Douglas didn't get me a quarterback though. This guy got you a quarterback. He
Well,
did.
from
I mean,
everything you hear, that was the coach lobbying him to draft Dart.
is that true?
I mean, that's what you hear. I mean,
Right.
that's what
You
giant
know what?
people have
I've also
said.
heard. Speaking of the coach, I've also heard Dable's name for Penn State.
Oh yeah. I mean
What about that?
so the names you have heard. So before the Iowa State thing came up, you had heard the biggest names left were Dable, and that they were talking of promoting the guy who was the interim, um,
I don't
Terry
know that.
Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that the AD wanted Dable, but now you have Matt Campbell from Iowa State as the front runner. So
Shouldn't that be happening soon? If Campbell's going there, shouldn't he be there like now?
I mean, the talk is it could happen one way or the other very
Right.
soon.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
even today. So, yeah, I mean, Dable at Penn State would be fascinating. I mean, I don't know. I back to the GM. I mean, I think he's Joe Douglas. He
Right.
had one good draft. He
Right.
had had some disasters. His free agencies have been bad.
Right.
He's let good players go. I personally, and we've seen it with the Jets where you fire one guy and keep another. It never works.
Right.
Like start over. You're a
Right.
disaster. You're 2-11. You're
Right.
what? I think they're 5-25 in their last 30.
It's not good. It's not good.
I don't see why you would keep him personally. I don't see why you would trust him to hire your next coach.
Right.
Um, but that's just me. I just don't doesn't make much sense to me. Um, and the other thing, I wonder if you could kind of see, you know, a scenario with the Jaguars where where like the coach you want to hire doesn't wants his own GM and doesn't want to remember the whole Jaguar thing where like the guy was not going to go unless they fired the GM and then they fired the GM and he took the job.
Right. Right.
I wonder if you might see something like
Maybe.
that.
Maybe.
It just
Maybe.
it never seems to work when you let a GM who's failed then hire his own coach and then in a year or two you got to fire the GM and now you bring a new
Well,
GM for a coach in place and
remember the Jet thing was different though. They kept Rex and they brought in that clown Idzik. It was the other way around. They kept the coach
yeah.
and they dumped the general manager. That's which they should which by the way is the biggest mistake Woody Johnson's ever made. Should have never fired Mike Tannenbaum. They should have let
Well, also
Tannenbaum.
should have not hired John Idzik. You could have fired Tannenbaum and maybe hired a GM with a clue.
Yeah, well, okay. Maybe we finally. I think I'm with you though. I think we finally have a real GM in Woodson.
He's been impressive. I
Yeah, I
mean,
agree. I'm with you, bro. Even our draft. Look, I mean, you look at the draft. Membo, Taylor, the two kids in the secondary, Thomas and Moore. Just those four guys alone. Forget the back end of the draft.
right.
Just those four guys alone. They're all starting.
I
And,
like Taylor. I think Taylor's gonna be a really good player.
yeah,
I
once they get
mean,
a real quarterback in there.
right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he's a 3 down tight end. He
Yep.
blocks.
Yep. Yep.
I like him. I know.
Yep.
I think the GM is good. I mean, think about some of these in season moves. Briggs has been a great
Yep.
move.
Phillips.
Brownlee's been good for the
Yep.
most part. The
Yep.
the receiver, yeah, I mean he's been impressive. I like him. I mean Jets, let's be real, like they're 3-9. They very easily could be 5-7.
Easy. Oh, please. If he would have went to the biggest mistake that Glenn made. Okay, forget the Rogers thing. I didn't like it, but you know what? It probably was the best thing as I look back now in hindsight. The
I agree with
mistake,
that.
the big mistake was Fields. That he believed that Fields was any good, and they gave him 30 million guaranteed. I mean
Yeah,
come on. You know what I mean?
I mean where else? Here's the thing though, like I thought it was I thought it was a worthwhile risk, because where else were you going for a quarterback?
Yeah, I guess. And he's only 26. He was young. Maybe there was an
The crazy
upside.
thing about Fields is like you look at him in college and like some of the throws he made, and now like he's an athlete, he cannot throw.
Yeah,
He can barely complete a pass. Like
I know.
he was
I
good
know.
in college. I thought he was gonna be at least a decent pro.
Yeah. Well, Ohio State hasn't exactly turned out great NFL quarterbacks. I mean, I know Stroud has been pretty good. I don't know how good he really is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a long list of great quarterbacks in the NFL from Ohio State. Let's be
Well, it
honest.
helps. The problem with Ohio State is you're throwing to these incredible
Right,
receivers
right. Who are
who
wide
are
open.
basically open by about
Right,
10 yards.
right, right. No
And that was
question.
always the thing with Alabama.
Right.
Now they've produced a little better ones lately, but that was the always thing with Alabama is like how hard is it to be thrown at three NFL guys who are open by 10 yards every play?
Well, Hertz has turned into a damn. I know he played the 1 year at Oklahoma, but Hertz is
Yeah. No, they've been better lately, but I mean, some of those years Alabama would like have four NFL
yeah,
receivers, and it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
no one's even within 5 yards of them. So how? I mean, it's hard to really judge a quarterback based on that.
It's funny because when I was growing up, and again, we're talking to Zach Brasilia. This is great. I appreciate you taking the time. We could go on all day. When I was growing up, I grew up during the Woody Hayes era at Ohio State. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And and
Yeah.
and to look at Ohio State now with all the great wide receivers that they put in the NFL now, I mean, it's like they're a wide receiver you anymore, which is
Think about
really
when Garrett Wilson was there, and it was Wilson and Olave and
Jackson and
Smith.
Igbo.
Oh, I
Right.
mean,
By the way, the
I
Jets
think
didn't draft
Marvin
him not
Harrison
long time.
was there like as a
Right,
freshman. I
right,
mean, just absurd. And like, look at this year. You have Smith. You have Carnell Tate. I mean,
yep,
they are just they had some kid last week, and I never even knew he was who's go for 100. Their number three guy. Like
right.
it's just incredible how they're receivers now.
Yeah. Nah, it's all good, bro. Zach, I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to the playoffs. They've really done a good job with this, but they got to couple just before I let you go. They got to get it to where the 12 best teams are in. That you got
So
to.
you want to get rid of Cinderella? No
I
more
think you got
Cinderella.
to get rid of the conference championship games. I think they're basically meaningless. I want to get rid of Cinderella. I want the 12 best teams in there. That's it. If we're gonna do it the right way, let's get the 12 best teams in there.
I think if you get it this year, if this year happens and there are one or two teams that like let's say Miami and Tex don't make it, right? And you
Yep.
get and let's say like Tulane gets blown away.
Yep.
And whether it's Virginia or whoever else the other team gets blown away, I think you're gonna start hearing more, let's get rid of Cinderella.
Right.
Because last year the teams didn't belong. If you get maybe this year and next year where it's like it's clear that these smaller schools just can't hang, I think you're going to hear there's going to be more volume for just take the best 12.
Right. Right. Well, I hope
But
so.
I
And
think you need to see it more than 1 year though.
right. Okay. The other thing is they got to do something about the transfer portal. I really do. I mean, look, I'm all for these kids getting paid. I don't know if they should be making millions. I don't know about that, but the transfer part. I mean, it's free agency with no salary cap. You can just go anywhere,
Right.
any time. I mean, something needs to be done with that. I don't think there's any question about it.
Yeah, I mean they clearly need to make some adjustments, whether it's just give them one free transfer,
Right. Right.
and then have some guardrails like if a coach leaves or something. Yeah, no, it's not healthy for kids to be at four schools in 4 years. I
No,
agree.
definitely,
Like
definitely not. 100%. Zach, I'll let you go. I appreciate it giving me the time. It was great. Check out his column, man. Now your column will be when will we see your column? Monday? Monday? You
oh,
think?
we'll have one Saturday for Sunday, kind of leading into it, and then we'll do our typical Sunday for Monday.
Okay. All right. And your pick to win it all is the Buckeyes again.
I'm going with Ohio State. My one of my editors, Mark Hale, will not be happy with me because he's a big Buckeye guy,
Right.
but because he'll think I'm jinxing them.
Right.
Which I actually picked I actually picked Clemson to win it all in the
Oh, that works.
preseason.
That works.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard about that one. I've heard about that one plenty. I bought into the hype big time.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna get one more. I got to throw one more guy at you before I go, and I really
uh,
appreciate the time because
yeah,
they come to me. Lenoris Sellers, who I thought was a tremendous player. Okay, great. Do you still look at him? Do they look at him as a first round draft choice anymore, or is the fact that South Carolina had such a bad year does that knock him down?
I'd be very surprised if he's not a first rounder. And
Okay,
that kind of goes into what I said. Like, who knows? Maybe you can get him with,
right,
I don't
right.
know. Where does Cole pick end up? Maybe it ends up being like
Well,
17 or
who knows?
18.
I mean, right now they're in a
Right,
free fall. They're playing the Jaguars Sunday, first place on the
right,
line, and Houston's right behind them one game. So who knows what's
right.
going on?
Right. So like, who knows? Maybe Jets really like Sellers and they can get him at 18 or something.
I like Sellers
That's
a lot.
that's why, like, I mean, there are a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, and like we always see it. I mean, like, you go into the draft and everyone's like, oh, you got to trade up for this guy, that, and then the best quarterback, Josh
Yeah,
Allen went 10th.
we see it all the time. No, I
Lamar
like
Jackson went third. Like,
you have to tell me Dak
it's
Prescott was a fourth round draft choice. So I mean,
right. It's all about your evaluation,
right,
and I think the GM has shown you enough where you should trust him, and like, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, and I don't think there's that big of a gap between the one versus five. You know,
interesting, interesting.
it's all like, and then like I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a huge Jeff fan, and we were talking about like,
Lucky
you
for
know,
you.
yeah, what do you think is the best way to get a young quarterback? Do you think the best way is to have your infrastructure in place and then draft the quarterback, or do you think it's better to draft the quarterback and then kind of build around him as you go? The Jets have done the second and have failed with it.
Right,
You
right.
know, like, would the Jets even be better off just using their picks this year on building up their team, and then by the time they get their young quarterback, they kind of have a ready-made
If
team?
you could tell me that we would get Arch Manning next year in the draft, I would be down with that. I will say that. I
Yeah, I
would
mean,
be.
I don't know if there's one perfect way, but I mean, look at Mark Sanchez when they took him. They had kind of a ready-made team,
Yeah,
and they were able to win.
yeah, they were.
Didn't obviously work after those first 2 years, but like,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
definitely
Sanchez was never coached. I mean, I love Rex, but
right.
Sanchez was never coached correctly and never got the credit he deserved for, let's be honest. Nobody's won more playoff games as a quarterback for the Jets than Mark Sanchez. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's mind boggling, but true.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Zach, I'll let you go. God bless. Thank you so much. Um, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all of that. And we'll talk down the road, bro. Keep up
All
the
right,
great
man.
work.
It was my pleasure.
Be good. Zach Brasilia of the New York Post.